Ohayo.
Ohayo.
Welcome to So Japanese Podcast, where we talk all things about Japan from a Japanese
and a foreigner's perspective.
We are your hosts. My name is Ryusuke.
And my name is Matt. Thank you for joining us today once again.
ありがとうございます。いつもありがとうね。
itsumo.
Hi. So, today's episode, I think some of you guys, some of listeners, you might heard this word. It's a Japanese word that we did a couple episode before.
Before?
Yeah. It was omotenashi. And this time, we want to talk about Ikigai.
So, Ikigai, I guess you could say this is another one of those sort of abstract concepts that give you an idea of Japanese mindset and Japanese sort of approach or like philosophy in a way.
But I think the Western culture take that way, but like as a Japanese, the Ikigai, the word, is always exist, and it doesn't have to be like a specific for think about your life deeply.
Yeah.
Like
it doesn't have to be.
Yeah, like I remember someone asked someone like, "What's your Ikigai?" I'm like, maybe I play game, or like, I think like I eat chips every day. Like
that's my Ikigai.
yeah, pretty much me too.
Well, yesterday and today I've been eating chips like 2 days straight.
Yeah, I love crunchy. So satisfied. Yeah. So, I think. Go ahead.
Well, yeah. So to clarify for listeners, it sounds bigger if you translate it to what the Western description of this concept is like the meaning of life, which sounds incredibly daunting, and we'll get into that nuances of that. But yeah, it's just like a purpose you give yourself, essentially.
Yeah.
Some sort of purpose. And if your purpose is eating chips, that can be your Ikigai.
Yeah.
But
there's like no one gonna judge you for like whatever the Ikigai is for you, and that the concept about Ikigai, that's about it. Like
okay.
It doesn't have to be big, doesn't have to be small, as long as you're happy with what you like. Yeah.
Right.
Anyway.
And
yes.
So and just to if you break down the word literally, it's just life and worth or value, which
exactly. Yes.
I think have heavier feeling to those words in English anyway in today's world. But like you were saying, it's like it doesn't have to be the value, the worth that they're talking about in relation to your life doesn't have to be as like a heavy thing or incredibly important thing. It can be very just simple stuff that are day-to-day things you have you are focused on.
Yeah.
And from what I understand too, like the word like origin it originates in Okinawa, like this concept or something.
Ikigai?
As like I heard something like there's a few things like kind of like a Okinawan thing. No,
I think why Okinawa is famous for Ikigai just because like they have the longevity. What's the called? The long life?
Yeah, longevity. Yeah, like long
longevity.
Life.
Yeah. So like the Okinawan people is the longevity, like the most longevity in Japan.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I've heard people be like, "Oh, it's because the Ikigai," and then anyways, there's this whole element to that we should say. It's like Western culture kind of interprets this in a Western like wellness culture perspective, and I've definitely heard like Okinawa, like some of the podcasts I was listening to, kind of referring to it like the Ikigai, the life purpose that these people, or I guess plan their lives around, the framework is like why they live so long. And, but maybe that's more of a Western myth about Ikigai than...
Yeah, like sometimes I think like this concept of life, it's sometimes hard to find why they have this life, or like why.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because Ikigai, the word means iki means ikiru, which is like life, alive, and gai meaning it's the worth or value. So obviously, like if you think about, like if you really think about deeply about your life, except making money, it means except for work, I think you might have something to think about, like, oh, this is might be my ikigai. Like for example, maybe like you have a pet, that might be your ikigai, to you know, like live with them, stay with them, going out with them, feed them, right?
Yeah.
Or
that's my Ikigai. I don't know.
So
Can you have multiple?
Ikigai. Of course.
Can you have?
Of course.
Okay.
And Ikigai should be without stress. When you start getting stressed, I mean, sometimes you do something fun stuff. You might get stressed because, for example, like you play a game, you love the game, but then if you lose it, yes, you get stressed. But I mean the stress from like the pressure or like a nonsense,
like a negative thing, like that's like
but like high expectation just because they pay you or something like that. So that's why a lot of people say the job, if you love your job and then you have passion, I think that might be your ikigai. And then you might don't care about like how much you make.
Yeah, I guess that's like probably the easiest. It's so funny. So I think there is, and this is where it crosses over a bit more too. Like, so when you talk about the sort of wellness, Western wellness culture, there is a lot of this talk about do what you love, you know, or whatever, and find that passion, and that's going to be like what you do for life. And I think there's a few elements there. I think though that you're right. Like I think that probably is the best way to kind of parallel the Ikigai concept, because it's really like you're really like you're not doing it for another, like for something. And I think I should kind of like a lot of stuff in Western culture is very influenced by capitalism, and with capitalism it's always transactional. It's about doing something to make money. And so a lot of these things, like if you look up kind of Ikigai, often like what people do, like if you look up Ikigai, you'll see all these like that kind of famous diagram, and there's a lot of like you know, there's like TED Talks, there's you know, what do you call it, those like life coaching things that will use this concept, and in this version, like what you have is a Venn diagram with 4 circles, and you have what you love, what you're good at, what you can be paid for, and what the world needs. And so it's like kind of overlapping. You have like vocation, mission, passion, profession, and then in the center is Ikigai. I would say this is very much like a skewing of that idea, especially with the what you can be paid for, and it's almost like they're trying to like find a way to market this philosophy where that kind of defeats the whole point of it, and reinforces that transactional idea, and that's not what it's about. So it's like, you know, it's kind of lucky, like if you can find
Yep.
If you can make your if you can make your ikigai profitable, I guess, but that's not the point.
That's not the point. I don't.
Yeah.
Like, yes. Like Matt said, like if you're lucky or like if you choose your ikigai, then you can actually start making money. I think that's obviously that's a good thing, but you don't chase money as a ikigai, because then how about if you don't make money, and then you get just stressed, and then maybe some people say like that's my ikigai, making money, and then go ahead, but I think in general, like making money or like make some things profitable, it's already the concept is into this modern system, which is you're not really freedom from that. And I think the ikigai, the first concept, it should be freedom from whatever surrounds you, and then you can how like you can control, you can choose, you can feel kind of love from what you do. I think that's ikigai, because when like for example you love your cat, are you thinking like, okay, I love my cat, maybe one day I can make money from them? Never. You don't even think about that. Or maybe because it's a maneki neko dakara.
It's actually funny because like you say that, and we often joke about like the cats live here rent free. Like how come they don't work? Like when are we gonna become influencers, cat influencers, where like we make money off like all these cat videos, which we probably could. Dongo's pretty cute. Anyway. But I don't. But I definitely could say my part of my ikigai is definitely like caring for my pets, and I genuinely care about them, and I do not seek to make money off them as a primary thing.
Like for example, because of there's a YouTube, and then like any type of platform exists right now. That's why you love your cat, and then maybe like you wanna start taking picture or photo or like movies or whatever, right? And then you publish them, and yes, you could earn some money, but it didn't mean like you wanted to make a money. You're more likely you wanna show them to the world because it's so cute.
You know
what I mean?
I just appreciate it.
Exactly.
It's cute, but
exactly. So like, listener, that's what Matt say. Appreciate it, what you do. I think that's very important. It's not like, oh, I need to appreciate it. No, like he said, like Matt said, like actually just come out from the mouth. I appreciate doing this. Why? Because you're happy.
Just make something. Would you say then that it's like about making you happy?
But yes, I think so. When you appreciate something, basically you're happy, no?
Like if you enjoy something, or it's
exactly. Like when you say thank you, when you say arigato to someone, I think most likely you actually enjoying, or like it shouldn't be a negative feeling.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I think so, like something I was thinking about when thinking about this concept, and I think the framework for why it's turned into what it is when Western culture talks about this concept of ikigai is like, I feel if you were to say what's your life purpose to most Westerners, North Americans, Europeans, whatever, a lot of that concept of what your purpose is framed through like, I would say like Judeo-Christian religious ideas, and this kind of idea that like God put you on earth to do something, or like this sort of like divine scheme, like God's plan, or God has a plan for all of us. You feel like there's a predetermined purpose. And so often people will be like, when they think of what their purpose is in life, they're thinking of like patterns and relationships and professions. Like, is what I'm doing like contributing to something, or am I improving things, or will I be remembered after I die? And did I accomplish something? And it's very like this idea of like fulfilling a purpose tied to your self-worth, and if you feel like you haven't achieved a certain career goal, or obtained certain things with monetary value or whatever, like then you're failing at having some sort of purpose, or you're not, or that even just like in a more religious sense, like you're not going to go to heaven if you're not doing like a certain purpose as like to fulfill a certain role, achieve a certain goal. So it's like, I feel like it's actually a very toxic view of to have of yourself, because you put all these like completely subjective, unrealistic pressures on yourself, like to accomplish something, and then that's reinforced by just living in a capitalist society where everybody's expected to have a side hustle. You're expected to monetize. You're expected to turn every hobby is something you make money off of, right? And it's like, why can't you just have a hobby that you do because you like it? And I think
I think I wanna and that, like, you do whatever you like, you do your, like, you enjoy, you into your hobby, and it means who's gonna judge? No one will judge. I think that's very important. Because of someone judge, it means maybe that's not for you, right? Or like you care about somebody will judge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if you really like something, you don't care what you do. Even though if someone judge what you do, and you're going to say like, I don't care. Because I still love it.
Yeah. and there's people I know, and myself included, I guess. There's people I know, like, they do things... a hobby just because they like to do it. They're not trying to sell it or do anything with it. They just like it.
Yeah. And sometimes, some people see it or hear it and then like, why are you doing that? Why don't you do this way? Or like for example, for me, when I abroad Canada and then came here second time, I was in Japan before. Obviously, I was in Japan before I come back here. And then like so many Japanese people, friend, they ask me like, why you want to go to somewhere else, because we have everything here. So I'm like, that I feel like, see, you don't understand. I don't need everything here. That doesn't give me Ikigai. That doesn't give me happy. My happiness is maybe I will suffer a bit from the language barrier or like the culture difference, but I still like it.
Yeah. You like the other aspects. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah. There's a lot of like, even that actually is a good point when I think about cooking. Like people are like, why didn't you become a chef? I'm like, it's just not in my bones to do that kind of work. Like, but I like to cook. And I know people who try to get me into a plan to like, do kitchen work again, or, to make money off of it. Like, oh, you can make this, like you could sell this. It's like, I could, but then maybe I would hate myself, I'd have to be pretty dedicated to it to be able to make sure I am okay with doing that as a job again. And I think even just like something simple, like I don't need to cook something elaborate or different. I can make simple food, but I like to make complicated food because I have fun doing that. I enjoy the challenge. And even then, like sometimes like my partner will be like, oh, it's okay, it tastes good, or oh, it's still fine, like I'll still eat it, like it looks good. I'm like, I'll get upset because I'm like, oh, I'm perfectionist. Like I want it to look good. I want it to be presentable. I want to show it off, and I don't get any money for that. I don't, I get serotonin, I guess, or dopamine from from posting it on Instagram, and maybe that's kind of a transactional bit. That's extra, I guess.
Yes.
But like the main thing for me is just like making something that looks good and tastes good, and seeing people enjoy it, and that's enough. Like
you have a passion of it.
Yeah.
You have a passion with cooking, and I think that's also one thing. It's like the gasoline for Ikigai, because you have passion with this. So like you say, you love it to doing it, but you don't want to do it as a job, because then suddenly it's changed.
It's something. It's like it's work, and then it's not
work. Yep.
About whether you're passionate or it's about paying a bill or getting somebody's attention to sell something.
You need to think about reviews, you need to think about like how they think, and then even though most of the people say they love it, but then one asshole gonna give you shit,
say that.
And I'm like, why
it bothers you.
Exactly.
You don't understand ramen. No.
But no, it's why
the rice and the water that matters. Like you can't just
Well, that's why I think the Ikigai, the word, was exist, even though I think especially after World War II, obviously Japan lost against America, and then they were really poor after that.
That's interesting. Yeah.
And then like they lost everything. So many people don't even have a house. No one has money. Like they don't even have a clothes or whatever. But I think that Ikigai as a word is keep them up. Because like, okay, what's my Ikigai? Even though we're in this situation, they're still gonna find some Ikigai. Maybe like, okay, I woke up today. Because like till yesterday, there's a bomb everywhere, but today there's no bomb anymore. So I'm still alive. That might be someone's Ikigai, and for someone it's like I have whole my family. I didn't lose any of my family. That's my Ikigai.
Like
right?
Staying like protecting them, or like,
no, like because after the war they can stay with. Like they can stay with family, so that's their Ikigai. It might be.
Oh, like to stay with family and
stay with family. Yes, or like yes. So
I was just thinking like during a wartime, actually, when you're kind of survival, your Ikigai probably just also automatically turns to like, I just want to protect my family, or I just want to make sure there's enough to eat, or I just want to make sure we get the next day until this is over, and or just something simple like being able to enjoy a meal, or feel safe. Like I don't know, would you say that's Ikigai, like in that situation too? Like even if it's sort of like stressful circumstances?
I think so. I think especially when you're under those pressure, and then like you're in a situation. I think you should have more about something like Ikigai. So, and then like you find any small things from your life, because otherwise, what do you have, right? If you actually start thinking negative things during that time, obviously, like how are you gonna survive? I think you're mentally sick soon, but. So many Japanese people, they're still there. They survived during World War II. I think it's because of like there was this war too. There's some Ikigai. They're trying to find it. So I think it's such a strong word if you thinking. I know again like that now this word itself is very popular, and then a lot of like the motivated people start using like what's your ikigai,
motivational speakers,
wah 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 wah. But it's like this word has a lot of meaning, and I again I just love it when you say the appreciation. I think that's about it. Like that's why Japanese people like they appreciate even though there was war and then bombing. They say I'm still alive. I woke up this morning. This is my ikigai. You know, appreciate it. I'm still here.
And I was thinking too, on that note, just not just war, but like, and this kind of ties into my feeling about like some of the building blocks of maybe Japanese mentality around things or society and how things kind of come together. But like historically, you know, people were, and even in present day, right? Like the hierarchy of Japanese society is very difficult to navigate. But in the past, it was almost like a caste system where you were born a farmer, you're a farmer. You're born like a blacksmith, you're a blacksmith. You're a samurai, you're a samurai. And you can't move between classes. And if you're like a peasant in rural Japan and, you know, your day sucks and you only get to eat millet and you don't even get nice rice, like you kind of have to have an ikigai. You have to have a purpose for yourself, maybe to like, you know, and just the reinforcement of the society telling you like you are in this box could be restrictive, but it maybe that restriction also forces people to just, you know, when there is no social movement, when there is no alternative, because you would just be like, you know, executed. It's like you have to be able to appreciate something. You kind of have to find something in that life that you can appreciate or whatever, and then I think that also bleeds into the omotenashi thing, as we mentioned earlier, like this sort of idea, like you're also just this kind of not flip, but just this other element of like, well, you're doing something for somebody, you're not necessarily doing it with the expectation of transaction to it. You're doing it, so it's like these kind of different if I feel like it fits into these different elements of maybe Japanese society, or like, you know, historically or currently, that like build on how people see themselves and how they respond to the world around them.
And it's kind of like connected somehow,
or like parallel to these, or complementary to each other in terms of how people respond to things. So it's like, you know, when in a society where things do feel kind of restrictive, but like you're still able to appreciate what you have, but also be able to like give to somebody else without expectation, is kind of like I don't know, I can see value in that. And it's also just very different than I think how Western culture approaches things, the same kind of situations. But and so it's, I don't know, it's kind of too bad that the wellness culture and like you know, self-help or like motivational speaker thing kind of tries to force this idea of simply really appreciating something and doing it for yourself into this like commodified thing, you know. So I don't know.
So I think we talk a lot of ikigai thing. And now I think how to find your own ikigai.
So hopefully you, after listening this far, you have a good concept of the criteria of what constitutes ikigai and what doesn't. So,
or maybe you like, because you listening this and then you might get some idea, maybe that's my ikigai. Like,
exactly.
You
might realize, so like yeah, first rule, don't stress.
Exactly. Like to find ikigai, first of all, you shouldn't get stressed. And if you don't have a ikigai right now, that's fine too. Don't just get stressed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like sometimes it's just a matter of trying new things and experiences, which can be from typical hobby stuff to something more abstract. You know, like definitely, like I guess like another kind of ikigai I might have is just like enjoying nature. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Definitely.
you don't like, I just, my kind of, if you want to frame it as a goal, it's like I just want to make sure I give myself the time to just go out and enjoy being outdoors in nature. And you know, sometimes that can feel a bit stressful maybe, but if you're working and you have all these things, so certain goals or whatever, but like that's sort of broad enough that like it's not constrained by anything. It's just my goals. Like when I able to give myself the time, like you know, my purpose is to be able to enjoy and appreciate nature when I can, you know. And sometimes I can just be like walking home after work and I'm walking by a park or something, you know, and I just appreciate taking a moment to appreciate it, and that's very like in the moment and natural. But
or even like taking up every day. That's my ikigai. That's good too. Or like meet a friend once a week. That's also, it could be your ikigai.
yeah,
Or maybe pick some garbage on the street, one garbage
Yeah.
every day. If you like it, that's your ikigai. Anything could be ikigai. But
and
yeah.
like I actually like something you kind of put in the notes here is like this idea of connection too, like, and you saying meeting a friend, like you could just be like music, cooking with friends, helping people, like you're there to have a human connection, and that's maybe your purpose, like that. And that's honestly, I would personally say that that's a very like pure human thing that's fairly universal to understand in terms of ikigai. Like I just want to connect with other people, and that purpose can be like, oh, I want to, you know, create a bond or make other people happy, or you know, support other people together, you know, as friends or whatever, or family. So like that's you know, these can be, I think that like just you can't, like the pressure for things like this is always framed in that hustle culture, a motivational speaker thing, and it's like, how do I make money, and I need to do it now, and I need to do it fast, and I need to be better than the other people doing that, or get away from the trends or something. So it's like, you don't think about that.
Because I think that's like more your goal for what you want to achieve, or like
or
you want to get something, you know. But
like
ikigai is ikigai it's more like a, like you're forever, like forever in your life, like it's one of your, like you breathe, the ikigai should be like that too, like you don't even think you actually doing this, or you know, like you know what I want to say. It's like very natural.
It's like subconscious almost.
Yes.
Like it's just there.
And then I think like volunteer, it could be a good thing, because like volunteer is basically like you don't own anything, you don't make any money, but actually like you help someone.
Yeah.
You know, and what you get is like appreciation.
Yeah. And just like or connection or whatever, or helping your community, you know.
Yeah, but obviously, if you start thinking like, I want to get appreciation, then maybe that's wrong, because
then you're
expecting something from others. That's not like really ikigai.
Yeah, you have to be wanting to do it for yourself, not for
exactly. Like you should feel happy
somebody else. Yeah.
because you're doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And or like you feel very healthy mentally. Like
Yeah.
you feel like your life is bright because of you doing this.
Now I feel like I should clarify. I do cooking because I like to cook, and that's always for myself first. I post it on Instagram because I want other people to like it and see like what I do. So that's an ego thing, but yeah, I would say less ego to your Ikigai. Yeah.
Well, that's why I think people start like those Instagram or YouTube and because they love cooking or they love something.
Yes.
But then once you start making money, then like you start thinking like, oh shit, I need to constantly posting this, that. Then maybe that thing's gonna change.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen it.
It's very dependent. Yes, I've seen it too.
I think a lot of influencers are like the best example of that.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Here's a passion, so they like, and then all of a sudden it's their job, and then like, they're sort of just doing things to get that next paycheck, and not because they're really enjoying it anymore. And that can be very hard. And some people you can find that balance, but I'd say that becomes more about like you're just enjoying your job, but not necessarily Ikigai. You know, like you're not. Maybe Ikigai is a part of the element of it, but like I think just Ikigai, you're not doing it to make money. Per se.
But also like obviously things are changing. Your mind will change. So you love these things before, but it doesn't mean it's gonna keep forever. But then you just gonna find another one till you can find it. Else. Yeah. So there's no way you need to get pressure on it. There's no way you get stress of it. Like,
and it's not some weird metaphysical thing here.
No,
it's not some
no
magical.
No, because I used to love cooking, even though when I was working. But at some point, I changed it. Like my mind changed. It's too much, you know.
Do you still not? You still like cooking?
I still love cooking, but I'm not cooking anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
And
so
I didn't like cooking at work. No, I actually like it because no stress, you know. So again, things are changing, and
as long as you still cook when I come over.
Of course. That's why I like invite my friend, because like then I actually enjoy cooking, you know.
Actually, you know what, and I feel like we've already wrapped up mostly here, but I would just say that is kind of like the trajectory of a lot of people in the food industry, of both people who've worked in it. You know, you've had a much longer career and much more intense, much more serious career in the food industry than I had. But you know, that's something that disillusioned me, is seeing. A lot of people have Ikigai around cooking and creating something with food, and then they get into the food industry and then they get burnt out, and then they like have kids or something and they're not cooking anymore, and it's like they kind of go through this cycle of young idealist Ikigai cooking, burnt out, hating life, making no money, and then some of them succeed, but then you come out the other end and you kind of go back to your Ikigai, you kind of rediscover cooking again. Yeah. Or maybe you have a small business, but it's just something that's focused around the things you really like to do, and you kind of can still hold on to your Ikigai. Yeah. You know, and it's not just about making the money or becoming the next celebrity chef. So it's kind of, I think the food industry is really good at framing that.
It's actually, yes, because like you love cooking before you start as a cook or as a chef making money. Then you start making money and you hate, and then you quit and you start cooking for your family or friend and you love it.
And everyone's like, you should be a chef. Are you a chef?
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
shut up.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, I think,
yes.
so this is about Ikigai. And then one of my Ikigai is actually doing this podcast.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'd say
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah.
So thank you so
because
much,
liked it.
all the listeners who's
Thank you.
listening this every episode or maybe every other episode or when you have time. No matter what, thank you for your support. And then
Yes, thank you.
I'm not expecting any support because this is my Ikigai. But
like and follow.
I really appreciate. We really appreciate.
Yes.
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 So
Listening to us ramble about
Yeah.
Japan stuff.
yeah. So hopefully you guys gonna find your Ikigai or you already have Ikigai, and then like if you have something,
Yeah, let us know.
let us know.
Let us know
Share
what
with
your
us.
Ikigai are. Yeah.
This is actually fun though. If we can ask somebody else's Ikigai, because like we might feel like, oh shit, that could be one. Oh my gosh, that could be the thing. Yeah.
And maybe
so,
we can share that. We can share some of the
Yes,
Ikigais
yes.
and maybe inspire people or like see what
definitely.
other people's passions are,
Yeah.
So what's your Ikigai?
Yeah. はい。じゃあ、
はい
ありがとうございます。またね。バイバイ。
See you later. Bye.